Thanks, Felicia. So as you can see, we are going to do this fun cutout. And of course, it can be done in any way, any word, single letter, anything you'd like, you can make a template for. And I am going to show you how to cut them out. So if we want to go to overhead, I'll show you what I found at Michael's to create this project. So this is our 1 inch by 12 inch by 18 inch white CraftFōM sheet. And I do want to note too that our foam is now made with, is made with polyrenew, which means it has post-consumer recycle in it. So we're helping the planet out a little bit with our foam. So for the florals, I found this really pretty dahlia. This is our focal flower. And then to get our height and our shape of our arrangement, I found these, I believe they're Ranunculus in a fun pink color. And then these little pom flowers in a light pink. You're just going to need one of each stem. And then I found these fun white fern I thought were really cool. And that's to bring in a little white from this flower to your arrangement. And then any color bright gold paint, some kind of black gloss paint. Oops. A pink if you want, it's an option. So you could cut out this little flower for your dot on your eye and color it pink. And then if you cut out the flower from the E, you could paint the inside of that pink, or you can just cut it out as is and have everything black. It's totally up to you. I'll just go through that when we get there. And then for your template to cut out your foam letters or foam word, you just need a sheet of poster board. So you'll cut your template out of paper, trace it onto your poster board and cut it out. And the reason that we use poster board is because you can run your cutter along the edge of that poster board as a guide, and it really helps, especially if you're just learning on the tool to pin on. And I don't have this in the material list. I think Tony was gonna throw it in the chat for sequin pins. So you'll need to pin on your template onto the foam to hold it while you're cutting. And I found that these sequin pins are short enough that they don't poke through the other side of the foam when you tack in your template. If you can't find sequin pins or don't have them, any pin will work. You just have to make sure that you're not going all the way through your foam, and that they're going straight into the foam, because if you're putting them in at an angle, they're going to stick out the side where you're trying to cut around the letter. So just make sure your pins are going in at a 90-degree angle to your foam so they don't get in your way. Some tools that we're going to use this wonderful chunky glitter too, Recollections chunky glitter. And then for some tools, we're going to need scissors and marker to cut out your template and trace your template. We do cut off a 3-inch slice of this sheet to use as the base. So you'll need a serrated knife to cut that, and a ruler to mark your measurements. And then this is our CleanKut foam cutter. It's a heated tool. It turns on just by twisting the collar at the top. It takes 20-ish seconds to heat up. It does get extremely hot. It will burn you, so you do have to be careful. Then to add your little eye, your little dot on your eye, you can either use a toothpick and paint it black, or you can use a little piece of silver wire. And we'll need a low temp glue gun. This is Michael's Craft Smart low temp glue gun. We use low temp because a lot of times the high temp guns get so hot that they melt right into our foam. So it's best to use a low temp gun with our foam. All right, guess we can get started. So I've already marked off my 3-inch. Am I on overhead? Okay, I already marked off my 3-inch line, and I always like to lay a ruler on the line and cut along the ruler, just like your template on for your spiral cutter. It just helps. It gives you a straighter cut. Get that off of there. And a lot of times you'll see it's a little bit chopped up. I just like to take the 2 pieces and just sand them against each other, and that cleans that edge right up for you. And if you mess up cutting this out, you still have enough room on this side to turn it over the other way and get another cutout over here. All right. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay this 3-inch piece down on the table. Is that going to work? That might work. So that your board is up off the table. That way, when you're cutting, you're not cutting into your surface of your table. So we're going to turn this on. I'm not going to cut all this out, but I want to show you guys the basics. So when you get really good with this tool, you would actually be able to use the board and have it cut out of the board and use it, and you'll have the cutout piece itself. So you can kind of make 2 projects out of this if you're really careful cutting this out. So to start, you want to make sure that you're in a well-ventilated area. If you do have a fan, a lot of times, I'm not going to do it now because of the sound for camera, but I'll put a fan behind me and have it just blow the smoke away from you. So if you're wanting to save this backdrop, then you just pierce the foam right next to the letter, and don't grip the tool and push on it too hard. You just want that tool to work for itself. So try to use like 3 fingers, and then you know you're not pushing too hard. It's not made for speed. We made this tool for our XPS foam, or our CraftFōM and Floral foam, and we wanted an ideal temperature that, 1, wouldn't smoke extremely crazy, and 2, wouldn't burn your foam. So it's just enough temperature to get through without burning or smoking. There is a little smoke, but like I said, well-ventilated area. Make sure that you have, or if you do have a fan, get that running. You want to make sure that you hold your blade of your cutter at a 90-degree angle at all times, and that'll give you a nice straight edge around the edge of your letters. And as you can see, it's not real speedy, but it does do a really nice job. It makes a really clean, smooth edge on the foam. So you're just going to keep going. Now, if you get tired and you need to take a break, I always I always pull into the, well, you couldn't do that if you want to keep the background though, but just try to pull it out as straight as you can so you don't make any little narcs on the side. And then when you go back in, of course, you have to be real careful how you go back in that same hole. Is there any questions so far? I know this isn't going to be a real easy class to follow along, but like Felicia said, it's being taped. So this might be one that you might just sit back and watch, learn how to do it, and then go back and watch again in 24 to 48 hours when you can control the pause button. Because this does take some time. And if I was to go through and cut out this entire word, we wouldn't have time for the rest of it. So is everybody comfortable with this? Do they want me to keep going? Think you got it? It's pretty easy. The two main things I would say is be sure your knife or your blade stays at a 90-degree angle to the top of your foam, always. And go slow. Don't try to bend that blade because you can break it. We had to make it thin enough so that it would go through the foam without taking too much, making too big of a gap, I guess. Thin enough so that you could get intricate designs without being too bulky. So in order to make it that thin, of course, it kind of took away a little of its strength, but it's a really good size blade. So I'm going to quit here since we don't have anybody that seems to want me to do that any longer. And I'm going to break this off just to show you how nice a job that does. See how nice and clean that is? Really smooth. All right, so I have one that I already cut out. And then, like I said, you can cut out the little paint guy, or you can leave the little E as is and just use the E, the dot from the E, or center from the E for your dot, whichever you want to do. All right. So for the black, you want to try to get the black on just, I'm not even gonna, you want to try to get the black on just the outside edge. So don't come, try not to get any black on the face of the letters. Because it kind of, I mean, the gold glitter is going to cover it up, but it's just better to keep it off the front. So you're going to do this. You're going to paint the whole outside edge of all these letters and the inside of the E. And I didn't paint the back of the model that I showed you just for time's sake, but I would paint the back just to give it a finished look. All right, so you get the idea. And a flat brush works good for this, to get the paint and all the little cells of the foam. And you'll find that when you're painting foam, you kind of have to push the paint into all those little cells, or else you'll have little bare spots. So kind of brush it one way, brush it the other way, get those bristles in there, get all those little cells filled. So it's a nice solid coverage. Can you get rid of that box for me? So So then, once you get all this done, and I used gloss black paint. I don't know if I mentioned that in the beginning or how I listed it in the materials, but just to give it a little shimmer. I mean, if you wanted to get crazy, you could even black glitter the outside edge. Would be pretty. This would be fun for like graduation, a centerpiece for graduation. You could do the student's name, you could do the student's, maybe their number for their sport. Do just the first letter of their name. Gift for mom would be cool to do mom. Or any of those fun trending words that are out there. Anybody else have any ideas on some words that would be fun to make? I guess anything that's hard to find in the stores. I mean, like my name, for instance. You don't find anything in the stores that have my name on them. All right, you guys get it. So try to avoid getting it on the front. Get it nice solid coverage. And you're also going to paint that base solid black. And you can see I did a couple whoops here and there. But it will cover with the I think I need another one in that red basket over there. Sorry, you guys. I had one less brush that I needed. Don't matter how much you prepare, you still get something you forget. All right. So the gold we're gonna do all over the face of this, and I am really gonna cake it on. I mean, you want it on there pretty thick because this is going to be your glitter glue. So really blob it on there. I mean, don't blob it on there so much that it runs down the side because you don't want to get it on your black. So you're having to be pretty careful with this gold paint. Am I even on? Oh, shoot. I thought I was doing the back side, you guys. Has anyone out there used our tool already? Cricket? Okay. Are they, is anyone watching this for a certain project they want to build to learn how to use this tool? Are there pre-planned projects out there?
So far, these are all new.
All right. Well, that's fun too.
It isn't fun to play with once you start messing with it though.
It really is, because I like to use it in the quiet because you hear this fun little like snap, crackle, pop as it goes through the cells of the foam. And it's like almost mesmerizing. You just get lost in this little soft little noise. It's fun. It's yeah, kind of takes you away. Stress reliever.
With someone that said, I used a hot knife last year when I did set design for our community's theater production of The Music Man. I made all of the town signs out of foam. That is
Nice.
very cool.
Yeah. Isn't it fun, all the fun things you can do with it? I mean, you made signs. Like, there's just endless opportunities for music foam. All right, so I have that caked on there pretty good. I'm gonna do another one just to. Is anyone trying to craft along? Probably not. Maybe while I'm doing this, you can tell me who's calling from where.
Sure. Let me scroll back up here. We've got Modesto, California,
Warm.
New York, Idaho,
Oh,
Irvine, California, Maryland, Florida, San Diego.
okay.
I want to be in all these warm places.
Yeah, we had a few days here we're in Ludington, Michigan at the FloraCraft headquarters. And we had a few days, believe it or not, in Michigan where it was like 75. I mean, crazy weather for April, like unheard of. Well, not unheard of, but not for a long time. And then like after what, 3-4 days of that, we had
Three.
we had
Snow.
snow, freezing, frost, wind, what, 32 degrees? Crazy.
We've got more from warm places, Texas, a couple from Texas. We do have a fellow Michigander, West Bloomfield,
Nice.
Missouri, Virginia, another Long Island, New York.
Well, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us.
Florida.
Florida's probably saying, thank goodness all the spring breakers left.
New Jersey. It's probably still cold over in the East Coast. You probably feel our pain too.
Yeah. Yeah, they got beat up pretty good this year. All right, I think I went far enough with the gold. I think you guys get it. You gotta paint it gold. But just a nice heavy coat, and that way when you push that glitter in, it's gonna be sure that it sticks. So if you're not a quick painter, you're gonna wanna do this part by part so that your paint doesn't dry before you get your glitter on it, because you want it good and wet, so it's for sure gonna stick. Right, and this glitter is so fun. And then if you want to be able to save any glitter that falls off the project, I just put it on a piece of paper before I glitter it, and then you can just funnel the paper and pour it back in the jug when you're done. So just go ahead and start pouring it on. You're going to pour it on probably a little thicker than you need it, just to make sure that you get good coverage. And I mean, you might even use the whole bottle and have to funnel the stuff on the paper to get enough to finish it, but that's all right. Just make sure you have really good coverage. And then I'm going to show you a little trick, because when you do it and just do it like this and leave it, see how the outside edge is all jiggity jaggedy from the glitter hanging over the edge? So after I get this all on here, thick enough, and just take like the top from your glitter, and you're just gonna tamp down all that glitter and make sure that it's stuck real good to your foam. And this kind of flattens it down and it almost makes it more shiny because it lays all those glitter pieces out straight or out flat, I mean. So that, just like that, make sure everybody's straight. And then take something, even like the back of your, the handle of your, what is this? It's a paintbrush. Take the handle of your paintbrush and you're just gonna tap all around the outside edge. And that's gonna bring in, just kind of pushing in all those little glitter pieces that are hanging over the edge. And that's giving you that nice clean edge. And you'll see what I mean when you're glittering it. They just kind of hang over a little bit and they mess up that line. So you want to just tap them back. And probably if I have this off of here, you'd be able to see better. You can see how they're kind of sticking out, like here on the H especially. You can see it sticking out. So you just tap those in. And it cleans up that edge. And some of them are going to fall off, but that's okay. So once you get these all on there, you're going to shake off your excess. Make sure you have all your little glitters tight down here so they're not. And I just found this, I actually just used a word that, word to make this template. Just printed it out on a printer.
Do you have any way to seal the sequin glitter?
Yeah, actually they have a glitter sealer and aerosol that you can spray on and it works really well. All right. Yeah, because glitter is messy. But you guys get that? How we get that on there so it's nice and straight and nice and smooth. And I'm actually going to steal the project from the other base. So once your word is all dry, it's probably going to take, I don't know, I'd say a couple hours to dry because you got that on there so thick for that glitter. But there's the finished one with the glitter on it. And you can see it's all nice and straight around the edges. Now all I used was a couple toothpicks and the E and then the S. And then I just center it right on to your base. Like so. So it's just centered on. Looks pretty. Actually, I'm going to move it over a little. Because you need a little bit more room by the S than you do by the E. There we go. One thing. Hope I have these in the. I have wire cutters in the material lists, right? But I forgot to introduce them. So this is, these are actually the heavy duty cutters that I just happen to have handy. And they also make just a standard cutter, but I've used both. And this heavy duty cutter is a really nice cutter. It really does a good job at cutting these bigger, heavier stems. So, but the other one, the standard cutter will work for this too. So for this arrangement, I start with the focal flower. And you don't need a big stem. You're gonna leave probably a little 1-inch stem, 1.5-inch stem. Actually too much. About a 1-inch stem. And then I liked that. Are we front facing now? Can you guys see what I'm doing? Would it be easier? Is this better for everyone? Okay, so pull it back. That work? All right. So for this one, I just wanted this right down low on this corner. Next, if I could find the end. Next to the S. And you might cover up the S a little bit. If that bothers you, you can always shift it down a little bit. So that's your focal. The next, I used these pink Ranunculus. And I'm going to use one to get my height. So figure out how high you want that top flower to be. I'm going to call this about a 10, 11-inch stem. And we're going to pop that in right back here behind this S. And that is your tallest flower. Now, you can find a single stem here. There we go. Take another one and cut it a little shorter. And you can see how it kind of stair steps. So you have your tallest, and then a little shorter, and then a little shorter, and a little shorter. So you kind of stair step down. And that gives you that color, it kind of spreads that color out a little bit. So we'll do the next one in front of this one, but a little shorter. Maybe that's too short. All right, let me get a new one. So we'll do this one about 8 inches. And we're going to poke that in. Right in front of the other one. There's your first stair step. And then another one. And I'm probably doing this backwards. It's hard. And we're just poking it right into this foam. And then 2, if you don't feel like it's going to stay for you, just put a dot of glue on the end of the stem before you insert it. And that'll help hold it in there for you. This last one, we're going to do down real low. And off to the side a little. So there you have your, this one's a little high, but I don't mind it. So there you have your first 4. Actually, there's 7 on here, so I'm going to put one more on this side, right back here, just to give a little something, something back here in the back, peeking out. So one real short down at the bottom. All right, I'm gonna save those for the other side. Now we have these pink guys. And you can see. So when you put in your pink, you want them to be stair-stepped opposite of your darker pink. So you'll start one just under the top flower and then stair-step this way. And then there's one back over here on this side, kind of fills in right here on this corner. And then I just brought that color down in the front too a little bit. So we'll put in our top flower. It's a little too short. Let's see. We're gonna need a longer one. So that's probably a good 11 inches, 10 inches. We're gonna pop that one in. Oh, that's too much. Let's go 10 inches. We'll pop that one in. And again, if you feel like you want these to be a little more sturdy in the foam, just add a little hot glue before you insert them. All right, I need to take a peek at this so I know where I'm at. One, and two. We're gonna put one down in front. Pull that pink down. And then it looks like I had one on the other side kind of low too. Over here. There we go. Something like that. Now you have your colors kind of balanced throughout. And then you have all this yummy greenery after you cut off your flowers that we're going to use as filler. Poke it right in. Whatever you want to use. There's a little bit of fern, it looks like. All these fun textures on here. Just keep loading it in and filling it in. Wherever you think you want a little green. And let's go back to this. So for this, I kind of use this as kind of a backdrop for the arrangement. So these will stand back here and just give a backdrop for all these flowers to lay up against. It kind of makes that color pop a little bit. And put some in at an angle out front here. Bring that white color across the front of the arrangement. A little bit of greens out the front with that one. Just gonna find a spot to put it. There we go. A little unruly. In the front of the Dahlia, just to give a different greenery texture. I used the leaves right off the stem to kind of put a little dark, a dark green down there to let that dahlia pop off the surface. And these I'm just going to glue in with a little hot glue. And you can glue them like underneath the flower, or you can glue them right to the foam, whatever works. So see how that makes that flower, oh, you can't see anything. How that makes that flower pop off the table with that little bit of dark under there. Oh. Just like that. Gives a little base for that flower to sit. All right, it's looking pretty good. You don't want to use the full fern like on this side over here. A lot of those ferns were just too long and I just wanted the little cute little tips. So I cut them in half, but then I still used the little end pieces because they are nice filler for back there. So don't pitch it, just stick it in next to it. So if you cut it off maybe halfway, and you'll have to glue it because it doesn't have a stem now. And just glue it wherever you want it to poke out. And then just insert this piece right by it. And it just fills it in and it gives a little extra. Like we need a little something in the middle. So at this point, we're just kind of looking the arrangement over. And if there's some empty spaces that you feel like you need a little bit more greenery in to fill in a little. Looking pretty good on that side. All right, and then we added a little accent by the E. And that I just used, uh-oh, my little flower fell off. Not really sure where it went, maybe right here. I used these last two Ranunculus. And you're gonna want to cut them pretty short because we have them right tight to the base. Something like that. And then this little guy in between them, just to bring that light pink color over there. And then we're going to want a little white brought over here so your eye will follow across. So if you do want a stem, you can pull off a couple of these smaller ones, and then you'll have a little stem left to poke in. All right, we'll add a little greenery in with that. Maybe back here. Oh, flower fell off again. I guess I'll glue it. What are some, does anybody have words that they're thinking of doing? No? Give me some ideas of some new words.
I think we had someone say they might make one for a baby shower.
Nice.
We're creating seasonal ones.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, and that's what's nice is you can personalize them too. Whatever greeting or whatever you want it to say. Put some little green out front. How's that looking? Yeah. You get the idea. And we'll add one more leaf from the Dahlia. I'm going to put on this other end just to bring that same greenery over here for that same leaf. Do another.
We have someone that said if you were thinking to make the base, you could change the wording pretty easily in the flowers by season, which is smart.
Ooh, that is smart. Good thinking. Yeah, because I mean, even if you wanted a different color, you could repaint the base and reuse it for sure. All right. I think we are at the end of our craft. We'll stay on and ask if anybody has any questions before I. Oh, do you want to find? Oh, there. That's Mother's Day. We have a few extra minutes. If there's no questions, I can show you our Mother's Day project. Thank you, Tony. So this is all dried flowers from Michael's. Wonderful, beautiful little dried flowers. And then this is FloraCraft's, we call it a mug plug, and it's our dry foam. So it's just a little round cylinder of dry foam, and it's great because it fits beautifully in just about any size mug. So you give the gift of the mug with the arrangement, they take the arrangement out, put it in a container or vase of their own, and then they get to use the mug. So it's like a twofer. So that's Mother's Day. And that is, Tony knows.
I'll put the link to the
I caught her off guard, I did.
drop it in the chat.
All right, she's dropping it in the chat. Okay, I think I have all the steps. Don't forget, it's being recorded, so you can go and watch this at your leisure and create something fun with our foam. All right, well, thank you everybody for joining us. Thanks for making it fun with FloraCraft. We'll see you Mother's Day.